What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Aftermath podcast here on the KC Sports Authority YouTube channel. I am your host, Christopher Tenpenny, joined by my co-host, as always, CJ Jones, and Keegan Russell is in the house today. Again, gentlemen, before we get started, I got to remind everyone, first off, we appreciate you being having here. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. That's all we need. I know it's overplayed. I know that's all you hear every time you hit a YouTube channel, regardless. But it's so easy. Just help us out, and now you get to listen to some great Chiefs content because it's playoffs, baby. It's
Pew,
wild
pew, pew,
card
pew, pew.
weekend. Miami is coming into town, and gentlemen, should we just start with it? The biggest story: Tyreek's back in Arrowhead. How are we feeling about that?
The cheat is back, baby. Hey, after all the hoopla about missing the game and Chicago Bears fans, game got subbed out for Miami. All in all, we all get to what we wanted. Mr. Hunt got his money from the Chicago revenue, and Tyreek Hill gets to come back to KC in a playoff game, so everybody wins, right?
I guess so, man.
It all works out. The football guys always do what they're supposed to do, fellas.
You gonna be wait, first I'll say, are you gonna be at the game? You're like
I
every game.
I will be at the game. I will be in attendance. It's going to be very cold. I will
Are you
be
gonna be
layered up, and I'm prepared this time.
you gonna
Cardboard
be
will be in
booing him?
attendance.
You gonna be booing him?
I will be clapping for him when he's on the field to show my respect. And then once after that, I will be cheering for my team. That's what I will be doing. I will give my
Always.
respect. I love 10. 10 is
He's
always got
still
a good
going to be
place
a
in my heart.
Chiefs Ring of Honor guy.
Yeah,
when it's
like
all
his
said and
name's gonna be up there. He has a legendary play, helped us win the Super Bowl. Hall of Famer. I love him what he did, but when the whistle blows, he will hear some boos. I'm not saying it's gonna be me, but I'm gonna be cheering for the Chiefs.
Man, CJ always taking the high roads, and I'd be as
Gotta be a
much.
good
I
person.
love Tyreek. I absolutely like.
Mhm.
I've been watching the Miami Hard Knocks just for Tyreek because he freaking cracks me up. I would still be booing his ass just for the fun of it, not because I actually feel that way. If I was at the game, I'd be yelling boo, probably while wearing a 10 jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Boo.
But
the Tyreek Hill with Pacheco taped across the
Take
back.
Pacheco. Are you gonna take Pacheco?
Oh
Now
man,
he should get
A
a
mixture.
good hand as well as the boo because ever since he left the Chiefs, it's just nonstop talk and
Facts.
smack
It
talk
was one
smack.
of the
And then
biggest
today
trades
he
of this
tries,
era.
oh, I've
So
tried reaching out to the guys, but apparently they're too cool for me. No,
you
dude,
keeping us
you've done
relevant, huh?
nothing but talk negative about your time here in the last 2 years. So he
He's
probably
doing
will get
great.
booed. I liked what you guys, CJ and your guys' episode last night on Kingdom Cast. Who's going to get booed more, him or MVS? That's a good question because
MVS is gonna
honestly,
clear.
as
It's not
soon
even
as
close.
MVS comes out the tunnel, it should be immediate booze
Facts. Like
just for him.
even
Or if they announce the starting lineup and he's in the starters.
I was telling him last night, even if he catches the ball, he's gonna get booed. Like they're like, why are you throwing it to him? Like, anytime 11 touches the ball, and I don't hate MVS. He helped us win the Super Bowl last year, so I'm appreciating him for that. But if he touches the ball on Saturday, I don't think the crowd will be very happy. It ain't gonna be Carl Severs type boos, but it'll be close. It'll be very close.
yeah, I didn't even realize we were gonna get MVS this early, but like, I know he helped us, but like, he had one catch for 6 yards in the first game against the Jags, zero catches in the Super Bowl. Like, I know we kind of justified Sammy's contract and Frank Clark's contract because those dudes showed up regularly for playoff games, plural with an S. MBS got one game under his belt, bro. Like,
It's just that one game was one of the
I don't
biggest
really
moments.
care.
I know,
I
but it
don't
was
really care, bro.
our whole receiver core was down, and then he had 100 yards and 7
Because
catches.
there's no one else to throw to, just by grace of God,
That's
he
what
caught the
that's what I'm
ball.
saying. That's what I'm saying. And I didn't think he was even going to do it then, Chris, but he did. So I got to give him some
So
credit.
what happened between then and
And
this
now,
season?
that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's the same playbook. Like what did you do different to where you can't make
I mean,
those
he's
plays
got
anymore,
the worst case of receiver yips I think I've ever
bro?
seen.
It's awful. Like who are you right now? I don't
And
get it.
he's gonna be out there running routes because even if Justin Ross wasn't on the injured report, which I know we'll get into a little bit later, there just aren't enough bodies. Sky Moore's out. Kadarius Toney's also banged up, which is not someone we feel strongly about to begin with. McCole Hardman, I know he played in every snap after the Chargers win. Again, he's been out most of the year. Like, you still have a rookie in Rasheed Rice, even though I think he should be on the field as much as possible. Richie James has been hurt. Like, you just go down the list and you're like, bro, we hate you, but
He has to
F it,
play.
you got to play. You got to
Facts.
run. You
Someone's
got
got
to
to
get your
line up.
cardio out there. So,
Facts. He got to play.
is it redeemable? Like, for real? Like, if he goes out there and has like 4 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown,
Yeah.
how do you feel about the season overall?
I mean, the season will still be a wash, but
Yeah.
he can redeem himself because in the biggest moment, just like last year before the playoffs, nobody was expecting him to do anything. And then Juju went down, and then Sky was in the lineup, and KT, Miko went down. We're like, I don't know how we're going to move the ball now. Trav had a back injury, has his back locked up before that Bengals game. And the next thing you know, MVS got one catch for 20 yards, another one for 15, another one over the shoulder. And the red zone comes, and Pat's jumping off one leg and throwing them touchdowns versus Jaguars. So it's like he just kept making play after play. And I'm like, well, if he's our number one for this game, then keep feeding him. And then just like Keegan said, what happened from that guy to this season? I didn't need him to average 100 yards and nothing like that. How come you can't give me 30 to 40 yards a game? That's not asking for a lot. That's like 3 or 4 catches. So if he can go into this game, like Chris said, and get us 4 catches for 40 yards, and God, and Lord, please, Jesus,
Lord.
if one of them happens to be in the end zone and he actually holds on to it, I'm thankful just for that. If he can just catch the ball for a first down, I'll be thankful at this point. So
I think for me now, it's not even about him catching the ball anymore. Because if you look on the season, I think he's the third on the list of most drops, third or fourth in the grand scheme of all receivers. But it's the route running. Like the guy can't get open, he can't get in position. So like even if he's not catching the ball, if he can at least be in the right route concept so that Mahomes can still look his way and then go to another read if need be, and he's taking up the right space in the field, as long as you just can't have a negative impact. Again, like we talked about how throughout the year, it was we got to get rid of Clyde. There's no business being on this team. What has Clyde done the last few weeks? He's had positive plays. He hasn't had, or I guess he hasn't had a negative impact on the team or the game. So MVS has to do the same thing. Yeah. Can you just be net neutral? If you go out there, 0 targets, 0 receptions, no mistakes, to me, that's just as good as 1 catch for 20 yards.
Is there a way we can put MVS's knowledge and knowledge of the playbook per se in Justin Ross's mind? Because Justin Ross's ability is better than MVS. He just doesn't know the playbook as well as MVS does. If we could put MVS's mental in Justin Ross's brain, we all would be happy. Because I want number 8. He should get all of his reps, but he had a calf injury allegedly last week. Not trying to say
hamstring.
But
it looks like he's going to be active.
He said he's active, but does he know the playbook? Like
I'm still skeptical on Ross just because, again, like you see the room, like, and he wasn't getting reps before the off the field issues. But like, here's my thing on the whole MVS redeemable thing. The Chiefs have to make the Super Bowl for MVS to be redeemable. Say MVS balls out this week, next week against the Bills, and in the AFC Championship game, but the Chiefs lose in the AFC Championship game. They're not going to the Super Bowl. Who from this season, fans, next year are going to be like, remember MVS, how good? No, they're all going to be talking about the drop. They're all going to be talking about the bump.
Yeah, for sure.
This team has to make the Super Bowl for him to redeem anything.
I don't think even if we won a Super Bowl, they would redeem him for the way he played.
Yeah,
if he played well in the Super Bowl, it would get overlooked. It would 100% get overlooked if they made it to the Super Bowl and he played well.
And he played well, or we just got to the Super Bowl. Or does he have to play well?
He has to play well.
Oh, yeah. If he had like a 3-game
stretch. But if he plays well in all 3 games, but they lose the AFC Championship game, even though he played well, wild card divisional, no one would care. It'd still be Applebee's. We'd still be calling them Applebee's out there.
What if he plays well and he's not the reason we lose?
No one's going to care. No one's going to care.
But I know, like, the whole season is a wash. We know he's not going to come back on the roster because he had an out after this year. It was only a 3-year deal that it's going to out after 2. So we know he's going off the roster. But I think regardless of what happens, he's had such a stain on the season. If he can play well in January, I'll be very thankful just for you to flip a switch that you should have turned on 3 months ago, because I don't like saying NFL players suck, because I've seen you ball in the biggest
right.
So you don't suck at football. You're just having a terrible year.
Mentally, he's cooked.
Yeah, like mentally, you're having a terrible year. And I get it. Like, you recharge, you move on, you toss it in the bag, and you forget it and move on to the next year. If he does play well in the AFC Championship game and does play well in Vegas, then like, obviously you're still not coming back on this team. Like, thank you for your business, and we can move on. But if we were happen to be thankful enough to win another Super Bowl, then I mean, he's not going to be forgiven for what he did, but I would thank him for his services. I wouldn't boo him as bad.
But you aren't booing Tyreek.
Down to he wins
us
Tyreek's
a legend, and
he
did more things. Tyreek had drops, but he still had 1,300 yards. MVS can't even get
I know, but I'm saying, if you ain't booing just for the fun of it, you are definitely not booing MVS. So
I'll do this. If Tyreek drops the ball, I'll boo him.
There you go.
Like,
well, no, you got to cheer him at that point. It's
no. I'm like, because you didn't want to catch it for them. Now you want to drop the ball.
But we're spending too much time on MVS of all people. But I do want to stay on the offensive side. Like, Keegan, we'll start with you, because, like, what do you want to see from this offense? How does this offense need to operate in order to move the ball against a very injured Miami defense?
Well, I don't want to steal CJ's Thunder, because this is his exact game plan too for this team. We've discovered a somewhat of an identity the last few weeks with the Chiefs. What has worked well? It's been running the ball with Pacheco, putting the ball in his hands, letting him run angrily up the middle, and taking the pressure off of the receivers, and then figuring out how to incorporate Rashee Rice, Noah Gray, Justin Watson down the field. So I think anything, it always starts in the trenches. So the O line has to show up, and they're going to be shuffling around again with Wanya Morris back out. So it sounds like Donovan Smith is going to get the start. But I think all eyes are going to be on Jawan Taylor every single snap, because this is what you pay him $20 million a year for, is to come in and be a solid right tackle. And he's got to have a clean game, but it's got to start with Pacheco. Pacheco is what gives us this juice, this energy. He is a big time play guy every single time he's out there. Um, he's just so angry when he runs, and he can make or break a drive. I think, like, if it's 2nd and 9, because the first play was a bubble screen that got broken up real quick. He could take that and run it for 8 yards up the middle. Now we're in 3rd and short. He has such a dynamic way of changing the game, and when we feed Pacheco, it really does make the rest of the offense go smoother, because now we're not sitting here going, oh my gosh, if Mahomes is going to complete 25 passes a day, where are those 25 passes going? Now, he can go 20 for 27, and Pacheco's getting 15 to 18 carries. And we're controlling the time of the clock. We're getting chunk plays. We're wearing down the defense. And to me, I think that's where it's going to be. These receivers are not going to wear down the Miami defense. This receiving core has not worn down any defense this year. But what does is, if you're running up the middle in the frigid cold, strength on strength, everyone always says in a freezing cold game, you're going to see who wants to come out and tackle, because it's as cold as it is. You're going to hit a guy and you're going to feel it just as much as the other guy is going to feel it. And I would give that edge to Pacheco, because we already know he likes to hit back and pop up. So that's where it starts. I know CJ, he can dive in further with Pacheco, but that's, to me, yeah, you gotta run the ball and put the ball in the guy's hand. That's probably the most effective playmaker currently.
No, that kind of goes into like I had a prop for this game, 2 of them actually that I really, really love. Well, 3 props, and I really love. The first one was Isaiah Pacheco over 15.5 rushing attempts. I got that at -120 on FanDuel. I love that prop. Anytime he gets 15 plus carries, me and Chris were saying that stat all week. The last time we played the Dolphins, we were like 9-0 at that point whenever he touches the ball over 15 times. So see him get the ball 20 plus times versus the Bengals. We've been praying for days like this, right, Keegan? Like, for him to just be a featured back, like all running backs in Andy Reid offenses have been. They get around 15 to 18 touches as far as the run game, then they get another 5 to 6 catches. And that's always been the question with Pacheco. Can he be the guy that can be a full figure back that can not only do things on 1st and 2nd down, but can catch screen passes? And even more so, we're going to need that, because we all know Jerry McKinnon is not going to be joining us for the playoff run. So that's one of my favorite
that hurts
props.
a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of sucks. But another one that kind of goes with Chris said, if we're not going to be throwing the ball as much, so if we're going to get those 20 to 27 completions or pass attempts, Patrick Mahomes under 34.5 passing attempts. I got that at -120 as well. I love that on FanDuel. That's another good prop. And my final one for this, it's kind of spicy, but I think it's pretty easy for this defense. Miami Dolphins team total under 19.5. The last time, like most of the defenses the Dolphins have seen this year, I think they've given up when they played the Bills, when they played us, and when they played the Eagles. I don't think they scored 20 on any of those teams.
The Eagles aren't even a good defense.
Yeah, not this year for sure. So when they see good defense or above competent defenses, not even the elite groups like us, the Miami Dolphins don't really score points. And we saw Tua.
Well, especially with Jalen Waddle out. I mean,
He's
we
gonna be
know
banged up,
Tyreek's
so.
going to be their focal point, but what did he do last time? Was it like 5 catches for 55 yards or something? Which,
Yeah, I think
not
we
a
had like
bad day, but for what Tyreek's usually doing, 10 for 180 and 2 touchdowns, that's a
exactly.
fantastic day. So if that happens again, there's no Jalen Waddle to go to. Where's this team getting touchdowns outside of an A-chain big time run, and Mostert might not even play. So yeah, the defense has all the advantage here, playing at home in the frigid cold. If they come out and pop those guys in the face early, Miami's going to be playing from behind. And even though their offense is capable of putting up big numbers, like you said, we haven't seen that this year against good defenses. And the Chiefs don't just have a good defense; they have one of the 3 best defenses in the league heading into the most important game of the season. Who are you going to trust more? I'm still going to trust Spags in this defense to do what they've been doing all season. And if it's 0 degrees, you're telling me Miami's kicker is going to get them 4 or 5 field goals, kicking a solid rock 40, 50 yards down the field in the frigid cold? No, I mean, All we got to do is keep
He
him,
has some
keep
of the
him
most
out
misses
of.
in the league this year, the Miami
Yeah.
Dolphins kicker. So Sanders,
So
yeah.
advantage there, special teams Chiefs, advantage defense Chiefs. But it's funny you asked that question, but the question is, how confident are we still in this offense to get to 20? If we hold them to 19 and a half or under, can this offense get to 20? And that's another thing we just haven't seen enough of this year to feel. To me, I feel confident the Chiefs are going to flip that switch because it's the playoffs. But there's nothing about this team offensively so far to still give you the confidence they can easily get or comfortably get to 20.
And the crazy part is when we played the Bengals, we had 20 in our lap. We scored that first drive of the game, drove down there flawlessly, got Pacheco involved, got the screen game involved, which we've been asking for. Moved the ball, boom, 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 touchdown, less than 2-3 minutes, looked like the old Chiefs, right? We had another drive when we got to stop, got the ball back, had a perfect mesh concept in number 11. We threw the ball to him. If you know that's a cardinal sin. And what happens? He did Chris's favorite move, and he reached behind him and started pointing at Pat like, "Put the ball on my hip. It was on your hip. Catch the ball." So
As he's
that
getting
that would
slaughtered
have
in the
been the 20
backfield.
points right there. That was the 20 points in the line. So we've put ourselves in position, and me and Chris have said this for weeks: 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. That's all we need.
Yeah.
If this team can do that every week and not let teams score 21, we win. That's our formula. So
And you know how you do that, and this is going to be blasphemous because it's Patrick Mahomes. But Patrick, play like Alex Smith until you don't have to anymore.
Thank you.
Until you don't have to.
There's nothing wrong
Play
with that.
like I get it. Alex Smith had a lot of playoff losses or shortcomings. He didn't have the level. I'm not saying to always play like Alex Smith. I'm saying to, in your mindset in the first 3 quarters especially, take care of the ball.
Facts.
Hit the underneath route,
Keep it close.
run the offense, kick a field goal, punt the ball when you need to, and then, okay, if it's 20-17, you're down 3 at the end,
Now you can be
flip the
aggressive.
switch. Now be Pat.
Be
Now be the
aggressive.
Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
And those kind of guys can do that, by the way. They can flip that switch. For any of you out there being like, well, you got to play the same style. Bullshit.
No. Read the room, people.
Take care of the ball, run the offense. Don't try to hit 30. Don't try to hit 35,
Yes.
which I know is probably impossible to actually tell Pat that because he's not wired like that. But just take care of the ball, move it, take what the defense is giving to you, and at the end of the day, the Chiefs, 21, 24 points on the board. That's going to be plenty. That's going to be plenty.
If Pat is as good as we all think he's and all we all know he is, you should be able to flip that switch like Chris just said. We've seen great quarterbacks, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. You can matriculate the ball down the field by not having to go for the big play all the time. We saw him do it last year. He was checked down Charlie.
Right.
He checked down the ball plenty of times last year when he knew he shouldn't have done it, but he did it because it worked. If you can play that way and not force the ball, keep the game close, because just like we did versus the Bengals, I know we hated kicking 6, 5.
I loved it. They scored 7 times. They scored in 7 possessions.
I know field
goals
goals
aren't
fun,
is scoring every time.
Yeah, teams don't score on our defense. So anytime you're adding 3, I know it sucks because 1 touchdown can negate 2 field goals. But how often are teams really going to drive down the field 80 yards, 75 yards on this defense? I just don't see it happening. We've seen every receiving core, like I said this year. We've seen Justin Jefferson. We've seen Tyreek Hill. We've seen A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs. We've seen everyone. And this defense has proven time and time again, it's hard, very, very hard for offenses to move on us. So how do you expect them to do that in this wind condition, in this weather degree we're going to have on Saturday? I don't see the Dolphins getting 20 points on this defense. So if we can do our job, like Chris and Keegan said, get 2 touchdowns. I know Bucker's going to get his. He's an all-pro kicker. He should be first team all-pro, by the way.
I don't hate the second team. I like,
but that miss in New England's trash. He was 100% this year. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah, I get it. But the Cowboy kicker is a better story, which does matter. It does matter. It does matter. It doesn't matter to us in Kansas City. I yeah, you're right.
So
you're
here's a stat I want to throw you guys real quick, because as you were talking about kicking field goals and then letting the defense do what they do. On the season, Chiefs opponents have scored 32 touchdowns. If you take out the offensive miscues, there's 3 defensive touchdowns there. So 32-29. If you do 29 divided by 17 games, this defense is giving up less than 2 touchdowns a game on average. So yes, by your math there, your one touchdown and a couple field goals pretty much still gets you there, because this defense isn't gonna let guys in the end zone easily.
Well, then that stat there doesn't even include, how Pat fumbled the ball against the Bengals at the 20-yard line, and that turned into a quick
the
score.
short field situation.
That goes against the defense on that stat, even though it was the offense who gave the opposing team a 20-yard field. So like we've seen at least 3 to 5 times, if not more. But like I think I can think of 3 to 5 times off the top of my head that's happened. So like again, just don't turn the ball over.
No
If you have to punt, if you have to put together 3 drives that score points, as long as 2 of those drives are touchdowns, but like 3 drives that score points, and then you don't turn the ball over and you punt the rest of the time against the Hawaiian quarterback that can't throw outside the numbers.
Turn the ball over.
That it's crazy because I know the Miami was like, what were they, first in points per game? They scored 7. How much does that 70 boost that number, by the way? Like, and 45 against the Commanders. 70 against the Broncos, 45 against the Commanders. Like those 2 games
points
are huge on that. Like, I don't know, man. And the Dolphins offense doesn't scare me. The defense doesn't scare me. Emmanuel Ogbah is the only of age pass rusher. Everyone else is either hurt, young, or retired. They're not retired because Justin Houston, Bruce Irvin,
baby.
Game. But like they should be retired at this point. Like, so like there's nothing about this team that scares me except the speed of A-Chain, not even Tyreek Hill of the running back. That's the only way the Dolphins I can see feasibly, unless the Chiefs beat themselves.
Absolutely.
And if I might be wrong, was A-Chain in that game in Germany?
No, he was out in Germany.
He was
already hurt by it. Yeah, that's
Nick Bolton was out. A-Chain was out. So now Xavier Howard's out this week, but A-Chain and Nick Bolton are playing. So and Brian Cook, who got the scoop and score when Mike Evers passed it to him, he'll be out for this game too. So it's kind of like some musical chairs with guys coming. But like Chris said, I don't really fear anyone on their offense either. Respectfully, they have great players. Jalen Waddle can always take the top off, and Tyreek Hill. But this defense has seen, like I said, and I'm going to keep repeating this so people get it. We've seen every receiver you can think of the last 2 years, not just this year. Even going back to last year, we've seen outside of CeeDee Lamb, we've seen every receiver you could think of that's in the top 10. Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown. Like we've seen like anyone you could think that's on the roster and in this league that's a top 10 receiver, that's a wide receiver 1, essentially. We've seen them. So this group is built for this moment. And they know what time it is right now, especially when you hear the way Charles and Minnie was talking. Chris Jones knows this could be his last hurrah. So why not go out with a bang and try to win it for these fans and try to go get that big contract that he wants? This is the time right now where guys are going to get paid, because me and Chris have said it on multiple shows. Willie Gay is going to get a big contract. I fully believe that. And it won't be here, unfortunately. I want him to stay, but we know Chris Jones could be on his way out given the market that he wants for his services. L'Jarius Sneed's going to want a big deal. This is the game where you get paid of that when you're going against the number 1 offense, like Chris said. So this is the game where you need to show out and go get those turnovers, because this team is already good enough to stop people. If we can get turnovers, give the ball back to Pat in this offense, that's going to take our offense to another level, because we need halfway fields to short fields to give this offense a boost. We're not good enough to go 75, 80 yards like we were used to. So if we can get the ball on the 40, get the ball on the plus 30, that's going to help this offense even better to get those 2 touchdowns. And if we even find a way, and the Chiefs team total is at 2.5 touchdowns. I don't know if you want to take that, Keegan. It's at minus 130. So it's kind of spicy if you think we can get maybe a scoop and score or a punt return, something to get that 3rd touchdown. But if the Chiefs find a way to get in the end zone 3 times, be it special teams, defense, whatever the case may be, I think this team is capable of beating anyone, because we know how good this defense is.
Richie James with a 105-yard punt return.
Hey, maybe a Nike player doesn't want to touch it.
Taking it 5 yards deep out of the end zone.
He's going to run back and
he would do that too.
Oh, man.
Oh, that was funny.
So, but no,
not to go on a side tangent there, but did you guys, I saw this earlier today, speaking of Chris Jones, the team that I've seen the most talk on that has the cap space that might go after would be the Raiders. I would absolutely. That would suck.
I mean, it kind of falls in rhythm. Like Neil Smith went to the Broncos, DJ went to the Raiders. Who was it? Jamal went to Denver.
Brandon Flowers went to the Chargers.
Everybody ends up leaving and goes to a rival. So it would make it goes along with the team, but
it definitely tracks.
I think Chicago makes much more sense, mainly because they got the pick cap space and we have the connection in the front office.
Him and Sweat on the D line would be crazy together.
Yeah, and they need an alpha for that defense anyway.
That's offense. That's off-season talk though. We can get to that.
Off-season.
I do want to talk about though. Okay, so the Dolphins defense is banged up. I think the Chiefs are going to have their starting tackles in this game, which is you can interpret it however you want, because it's been a event. But without their main pass rushers and those tackles in, I do like that if they do need to pass the ball, they'll be able to. My concern is I think Jalen's going to probably be on. I know he stays on one side of the field most of the time, but he's probably going to have a lot of attention on Rice. I think Javon Holland and just people in general, they're going to be 2-3 guys on Kelsey. who do you like the most to take advantage of the rest of the injured defense? If Holland is and someone else is on Kelsey and Ramsey's on Rice, who's stepping up for this team to make some plays
The
in the
Vanilla
passing game?
Boys. The
In the
Vanilla
passing
Boys.
game.
Noah Gray, Justin Watson.
Oof.
Ice, baby. You feel me? Them
They're the
two,
two
like,
that know how to find space.
yeah, those are the two that the most consistent hands on the team. Obviously, Richie James is going to get his reps at times for sure. Miko's going to have his design plays, whether it be jet sweeps, deep overs. But the two I want to see getting the most targets outside of Kelsey and Rasheed is easily Noah Gray and Justin Watson. That's not even close. That's an easy question.
I feel
Is
like
it-
Hardman might have the best
Yeah,
chance because
that's
he
where
knows
I'm
the
at, too.
playbook.
That's where I'm at too.
And I mean, we saw them like intentionally involve him last week.
Well,
I
he ain't
know it
played
was
football in like a month. He better be ready.
Yeah. So he
I need
seems
a, I
like
need a,
they
jet- I
could
need a
be that
in my
guy.
life. I need a
He's-
jet sweep Miko touchdown. Can we get
It's
one?
like
Please.
Keegan, you could probably go back and watch some of mine and CJ's episodes, and there's probably times where I'm saying McColl's cooked. I hate the trade. It's irrelevant. I don't
Why is he
care.
better?
Like snore. Next topic, please. And now here we are in January. I'll be like,
He could be the X
McColl about
factor.
to be option 3 in the passing game.
But yeah,
Like,
I mean, you're right. One of these guys has to step up. And who do you feel the most confident?
Bro, we got to run a deep curl. Can I just get a Miko jet sweep touchdown like the old days?
like
Very
against
simple
San
play.
Fran, man.
Yeah, like San Fran, even like versus the Bengals 2 years ago in the AFC
Mhm,
Championship. Keegan, a
mhm.
very simple play. You have them fly in motion. If they don't move, that's how you know it's zone. If they're flying with you, it's man. Just give it to them. Let them beat you to the corner. That's one touchdown. I can get the other two somewhere else. Just give me that one from Miko. He's done his job for me. If he gets in the end zone one time, Chris, that's all I need. I don't need him to do nothing else. Just give me one. Give me one touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Justin Watson pick is, or I don't. They just won't throw to Noah Gray enough. Noah's going to get his 2, maybe 3 targets, and
Yeah.
that's going to be it.
It's
Watson,
probably
my
gonna be in the
thought.
first quarter.
yeah,
He'll get his 2
Watson,
targets and that's it.
right. Like they literally 2 weeks ago against the Bengals, the first play of the game was a designed play for Noah Gray,
Noah
and he
Gray,
got
yep.
1 target the rest of the game. Like,
I
bro.
posted a
Because I think
play.
I immediately texted you guys that too. I was like, "Oh, Noah Gray sighting. It's gonna be a day." And
Maybe
then
he finally
nothing.
gets to play. And like, has he ever had beside that Titans game on Monday night last year? Has he ever had a game where he's got over 4 targets?
I doubt it. I
Wait,
know both touchdowns he caught
Producers,
were
look
on
that up for us. Oh, we don't have producers. Sorry.
both touchdowns he
I'll
caught
look it
on
up
were on
myself.
Monday night, right? Like,
I'll look it up. My producer CJ. One
or
second.
Sunday night, excuse me. Against the
He
Jets
probably
and the-
over his career,
Jets
his
and the-
average is probably under 3.5 targets a game. If
Absolutely.
that.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Easy. He's probably averaging 2 targets a game, but like,
But yeah, he
so-
could be a guy. I mean, you talk about
He
how
got
banged up
5
that
targets
defense
this week.
is.
Detroit week 1 because Travis was out. Outside of that,
Yeah.
the most he's ever gotten is 4. Average 2-3, 2-3. He's gotten 5 versus Detroit, 4 versus the Bengals. Like we said a couple weeks ago, at the end of the week, it was no more than 3. So I don't know what it.
He might not get a lot of looks,
So it's
but
a
you know
non-factor.
he's going to be a
I'll
part
be
of an
cool with 4.
important
Why can't he
play.
get 4? Like we should see that more often. Like,
does any team talk about their backup tight end more than Kansas City Chiefs fans?
well, the Ravens did when they had Isaiah Likely as the number 2.
I guess maybe Bills
Yeah,
because Knox and
Because they
Kincaid
have
yeah.
a good tight end.
But that's what with Noah Gray can be those type of guys. We just don't give him the volume. Why? I'll never.
I think for Chiefs fans, it's because when we drafted Noah Gray, the idea was, and everything coming out of the offseason talk and draft was Noah Gray was going to be baby Kelsey.
It kind of
Kelsey-
is in a
Kelsey
weird
light.
way.
Well,
Like,
if you
and
give
what
him
they
the
asked him to
volume,
do,
he's shown the ability to do so. Like, what you think he can't handle the workload?
he doesn't
Like,
have the wiggle or the
the run
space
after catch.
awareness,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
he knows where to be and he has good hands.
Yeah, it's good hand. And that's all I need.
care.
He deserves 4 targets a game. That's all I'm saying.
That's
I ain't
most
saying he
tight
got to
ends in
get.
this league.
Yeah,
You know, that's
that's
most
all I
tight
need
ends
from
in
him.
this league.
I'm not asking nothing for nothing. I'm not asking him to be nothing like. Just be solid. If he can't get 4 targets, then might as well be Blake Bell out there. Like,
Yeah, I think
like,
the other answer to that question though is the screen game with Pacheco. We've seen I think 3 of the last 5 games that Pacheco's played in, he's had 3+ catches.
Yep.
So I think that could be a way to let the defense spread out as they need to, and then dump it down real quick and let him just do what he does best and break tackles.
I worry about the usage a little bit. Like, I am with you guys. We opened the show basically talking about, after we got our MVS slander off, we opened the show with talking about Pacheco being the vocal point. But aren't you a little concerned with his injury history and the weather? Him getting, this team's going to make a run. They're going to need him down the stretch. Like, I'm a little worried on the touches. Like, if you have him carried 18 times and you throw the ball to him 5 times,
Sure.
like in that weather, like, is he going to be able to hold up? So you're going to need Clyde. And again, we can go back and look at all of the episodes, and I am one of the leaders in the clubhouse against Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But brother, we're gonna need you this week because Pacheco cannot be taking all these hits for this
Absolutely.
playoff run.
And I think
We
Clyde
just
has
can't
shown
do what
that.
we have done when both have played and do the classic. Oh, Clyde's coming out. It's 2nd and 9. Well, it's about to be 3rd and 7.
Right. That's the
But-
worst. The
So
Clyde.
so Clyde should come in for some of the third downs or no third downs. How do y'all feel about any third downs with Clyde?
Was it Nate Taylor that reported that he came out on? Oh no, actually, it was Kling. Josh Klingler from on the sideline. Clyde wasn't going to get a lot of run in the game. He came in on every third down last
I
week.
didn't notice
That's when
that.
he played. He
So
played on every third down. So
he's
that's
gonna
how they're
have to
going to
play
use him.
we can't use Pacheco for every third down, like you said. Like we're gonna have to mix it up. Like there's gonna be some drives where Clyde starts to drive off and then Pacheco finishes. There's gonna be some drives where Pacheco starts off and then Clyde finishes. They're both gonna have to work off of each other. It's not gonna be because when we have the three-headed monster with McKinnon, Pacheco, your first and second down. Clyde, your red zone, Jet McKinney, your third down, 2-minute drill. Everybody's role is designated. Now that we have these two, and obviously P. Ryan is going to be active. I don't think Prince will be active this week. If not, maybe they decide to do so. But those three are going to have to be the guys that are going to get the reps. But 2-5 is going to have to play a lot this week. Like Chris said, we can't use Pacheco every down because we're going to have to use him for these next 2-3 games we expect to be playing in. So Clyde's going to have a big role. And like Keegan said, it doesn't have to be nothing special. And I was telling C-Dot this, and he was hating on him. Like, CJ, he's only averaging 3 yards a carry. I know that, Carrington. I'm just telling you. He's been a positive impact. I saw Clyde hurdle somebody in the Bills game. I saw it with my own eyes. I was watching.
I've got a reel up right now on our YouTube page of him.
I didn't think he would ever do that again. He caught a ball where he mossed somebody in New England, ironically. I didn't think I would ever see that again. So from my perspective, Clyde is playing good football for us. If he can continue to do that and not have negative plays like Chris just said, that's all I need you to do. I don't need him to run for 20 yards a pop and have these big, crazy plays. Just go in there, be positive. Keegan, if it did turn into 3rd and 7, 3rd and 7 is better than 3rd and 10. I'll take that any day of the week. So it may not be an amazing play, fellas, but it's a positive play. So we got to be honest.
He still made more plays in like 4 games than MVS has all year. So
see, and
that's probably why we feel even better about Clyde too. Is he hasn't been negative.
That's all I need, just positive plays. Well, 15 and 87 will figure out the rest. Just give me positive plays.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this then. Speaking of 87, Kelsey has looked like a shell of himself the last 4, 5, 6 weeks. I don't want to speculate anything talk-wise there, but I feel very, very optimistic that Kelsey flips that switch this weekend. And I know I said this in a couple days ago in our last episode too, but it just seems like this is a game where Kelsey's going to be so locked in. He didn't have to lock in for those games. Not that he should. I mean, he probably should have been locked in, but in reality, it doesn't really matter what our record is as long as you're in the playoffs, because at the end of the day, then you have to go out and win those 3-4 games. So I think he is going to be locked in this weekend, and it's one of those typical Kelsey super involved, because again, as many of the Dolphins guys that are out, they're going to have to throw a lot of different looks that way. But Kelsey's he's gonna figure out how to find space across the guys that they switch up on. So I think he has a typical Travis Kelsey game of the 5 to 8 catches, 65 to 85 yards, touchdown to 2 touchdown type game. And then I don't think we necessarily need that for us to win, but it just feels like, all right, enough of this bull crap. Let's lock in and do what we do best and give me the ball.
A classic Trav, like 8 catches for like you said, 70, 80 yards, gets in the end zone once. That's a classic Trav type of day. And the Yeti had to call off all the haters today in the press conference. Are you going to retire? Have you been thinking about it? He's like, all of y'all think I'm going to retire? He asked the whole room. He's like, is everybody in the same boat? Y'all all think this? Like, oh. Yeah. He's like, I have no reason to think about leaving the game anytime soon. I love him to say that. I thought it was funny because, his brother's getting older. Andy's 70s are like, oh, maybe he will retire. I'm like, okay, guys, let's speak from the horse's mouth. And he obviously quieted all of those questions and doubts in everyone's mind. But no, I agree, Keegan. He's due for a big game. Hasn't really had a big one since. What was the last good Trav game of the season? What was the last good one? Was it the Raiders game?
Before the bye week, I think.
The first Raiders game? Was that his first
I think it was the first Raiders game.
The first Raiders game was his last good one. So, yeah, he's due for like a 7-catch, 80-yard type game, gets in the end zone. He likes playing in the cold anyway. So
against the Packers, he had 4 for 81.
Decent day.
So
if he would have got a touchdown that game, that would have had iced it off. Yeah,
right. He had 6 for 83 against the Bills the next week, and the play that didn't count.
Yeah.
And since then he's been.
And that would have won me my parlay.
And since then he's been kind of lost. Though, a small but not small thing too. So Kelsey is, if I have the numbers right, I'm using the stat muse for this stats. He is 18 catches behind Jerry Rice all time in postseason receptions. He is 6 receiving touchdowns all time behind Jerry Rice, and he is 700 yards behind Jerry Rice. But he's second in all 3 categories. If he has a playoff run, if the Chiefs win a couple games and Trav puts up, he's probably going to lead in receptions. If they go to 3 games, if they make it to an AFC Championship game alone,
smack that one.
he's going to be the all-time leader in receptions. Like, it just has to be.
The yards one is the one that's
the yards one is he needs a good run. He needs a good run this year.
Yeah, he's probably got to have three more postseasons.
a couple. You got to have a couple more seasons.
So like that's a lot. I get it, but like the touchdowns is
touchdowns and catches. He can get those.
He can get there, and I think I don't know if that I doubt it's on his mind, but like it might be. It's something to keep an eye on. That he's already the second greatest postseason player of all time as far as receivers go.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that's crazy. Jerry Rice had over 1,500 receptions.
That's crazy.
So,
and we thought Kelsey's been a big playoff guy, and he's like barely halfway to that. That's insane.
Jerry,
I have Jerry at 151 at 151 playoff receptions according to StatMuse.
I'm sorry, I was looking at it just total career wise because Kelsey just is always up there with catches, and he's still so far away from that.
Yeah.
Played like 20 years.
Jerry's actual records are insane, but his playoff records
they're obtainable.
Especially with the extra game with Wild Card Weekend.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know. Just we're talking about Trav. Just wanted to bring that up. Something to keep an eye on. Like, hell, he has a 10 catch game and the Chiefs win.
Get closer to breaking that record.
Yeah, get closer to that reception record. So
absolutely. He could probably get that one this postseason.
Yeah, receptions for sure. If he gets like 2 touchdowns,
if we go to AFC Championship,
it's possible in 2. It is definitely possible in 2. But like with the weather that in Kansas City and probably in a hypothetical Buffalo game, like. Probably needs to get to 3, even though Baltimore weather wouldn't be much better.
How about here? There's a kind of
KC, Buffalo, Baltimore. They all suck.
That road, and I know that like we don't want to spend too much time talking about hypotheticals, but that road is insane.
That's tough road.
But hey, if you want to go out and win a championship, I mean, you really don't want it any other way. You gotta go uphill. It's just not our typical fashion of skating through with a bye week. But
we played
here's this. Did you guys see speaking of the elements and weather, obviously there was the whatever Dolphins fan that was pissed off. Well, if it's as bad as they say it's going to be in Kansas City, why don't they move the game? You see, though, that there is talk of the Buffalo-Pittsburgh game because it's going to be even much worse because they're going to be cold and a bunch of snow. That there's a legitimate shot that game gets moved.
Is crazy.
Well, that's another. If y'all want a free prop, take the under on Josh Allen's pass attempts. But that's easy.
Over on touchdowns.
You're going to throw 8 times. Like,
maybe 5 if lucky. Josh Allen anytime touchdown, 2 of them also.
Yeah. Craziness. Guys, all right, let's wrap this up. Let's get to prediction time. Keegan, let's start with you and we'll work our way around. Where you got this game finishing?
So I was checking this out earlier to see what the line's currently at, and I know we still have a day or 2 left until it gets there. So the over's at 44. I think I like the under, even though we've sat here and said I've got a lot more optimism that the Chiefs offense does a little bit more. I still see this being a 20-13, 20-17, maybe Chiefs get to 24. I don't see the Dolphins getting the 20 unless it's off of a defensive touchdown or we just keep turning the ball over. And I do think the Chiefs offense does enough to handle this team, time of possession, ball control, that kind of stuff. So I think I feel pretty good with the 20-14. Let's go with that. 20-14. 2 touchdowns. The Dolphins don't get any field goals. If they do get in field goal territory, they miss it, or they get uber aggressive and go for it. And Spags dials up, a defensive master plan and keeps them out of scoring opportunities. So I'll go 2014 Chiefs, which it's probably, I think 2014 is a close game, but I think it's going to feel like a wider spread game than what the score might suggest.
I like it.
But I think I said that last night on the other show. Chiefs 23, Dolphins 13.
Yeah.
I like that. I think we get maybe some type of Tua turn the ball over twice at home in great conditions. So to think he's going to come into this weather and this city and obviously being an Arrowhead for his first time, I fully expect us to get at least one turnover off this team. Preferably, I hope we score off this turnover, but I think we do get that turnover, get a short field, helps the offense get in the end zone. That helps us get over 20. So, yeah, I think Chiefs 23, the Dolphins probably muster together one drive. So, yeah, I think 23-13 is a good set for this defense for this team. So, Chiefs win 23-13.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same. I like 24-14 because I don't think the teams are going to settle for field goals a lot. I think it has to, just because of the weather and with the wind, like even though I would like the Chiefs during the regular season and normal conditions for them to have kicked it more. I don't think once you get to that 30-yard, if it's 4th and 3 from the 30-yard line, you can kick a 47-yard field goal. I think both teams are going to be more inclined to go for it just because of the weather. So I think the Chiefs kick one. I don't think the Dolphins kick any. I think this defense holds tough. 24-14. Give me a Joshua Williams pick. My boy's been kind of popping off on the social media. Let's see if it transfers to the field. He's been leading a lot of their social media videos lately. Oh man, always cracks me up. And then Mike Dana with the sack. Those are the two things I'm adding to that.
See, the sack ones are the ones I have a hard time deciding who gets it now because this defensive line's so freaking active.
We got too many guys that can get one. So
that's why I said Dana, because Amanda Hughes been killing it. Chris Jones is obviously a favorite. And then when George got to, I'm like, old reliable Mike, man.
The FanDuel's only allowing
Karlaftis is plus money for a sack.
Yeah, they got George and Chris, the only two you can bet on. Those it's like Chiefs players. They got a whole bunch of Dolphins players on there. There are guys you can bet on to get an interception. Trent McDuffie recorded interceptions plus 1,100.
He just never picks the ball off.
They don't throw it to him like that.
They don't throw at him, and he's kind of small. Like he's a small guy. Like
Snead is plus 500. Mike Edwards, who just got one, plus 600. I may have to sprinkle on Mike Edwards.
Yeah, Mike's the best value.
He's been getting his hands on the ball a lot, but I love that. Trent's due for one eventually, and it's gonna hit when nobody expects it. So I'm gonna sprinkle it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take Trent this week. He's gonna get one eventually. It has to happen eventually.
This defense, man. We didn't spend a lot of time talking about it individually just because it's,
we're confident. I don't think we have to dive into it.
They've done it all year. They're going to be the unit they're supposed to be.
I think the only thing you're maybe somewhat worried about is just to see, because we didn't see A-Chain last time, is if A-Chain and Mostert are both playing, there's going to be a different look there. But A-Chain's got some speed, and if you're trying to hit a guy hard when it's cold and he bounces right off and continues to take off, maybe that's an issue. But I mean, this defense hasn't given us any reason to be concerned.
Right.
Really at all.
It's like off the top of my head too. Everyone's freaking out with the run game. It's like both Raider games, there were some issues, and the Bills game, there were some issues, and all 3 of those games, not a lot of points were scored. So like, I'm not super concerned, even if A-Chain does go out and has a semi-productive game. Now, if he's breaking off 60 yards, that's a whole nother story. But like, you can.
Well, that's the same. Like Zamir White, I think he got like 40% of his total yards on that one play late in the game.
Exactly.
On that third
yeah. So like you can. So like again, the run game, I think, is because this defense has been so good. I think a lot of the media and talking heads are using that as the one reason to be scared of. But like, this defense just hasn't given you a reason. They're going to give up probably a drive early because that's just it takes them a little bit to adjust. They struggle against the first 15. Don't freak out if it's 10-0 early. Like especially if the Chiefs don't start with the ball.
I just feel like I've seen this Dolphins offense multiple times. I've seen them on the road, seen them at home, good conditions, bad conditions. They struggle to run the ball even when it's nice weather and teams that can really hit. So I just don't.
Their offense has really kind of fizzled out the last 6 months.
Like
now I know Jalen Waddle's been out for a lot of that, but
still, man.
Outside of that, I mean, their receivers are. I mean, in my opinion, their receivers are kind of hot garbage outside of Tyreek and Waddle. So you're going to let Braxton Berrios beat you?
Cedric Wilson. Like you can.
Wilson's had a good decent year.
Like if Tua's throwing the ball to any of those guys, I'm very confident that pass will end up as a PB.
Tua can't throw outside the numbers, and
all of his throws are play action,
teams know that.
Facts.
So
they're
gonna pack it in because it also helps with the run.
Keep the middle
force him to.
Yeah, that sideline becomes your 12th man.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So like, I don't know, man.
Here you go. You want some sleeper picks for this game? Some prop bets.
Let's go.
Blake Bell plus 1,600 anytime TD. Get him in the red zone. We go big boy package. Everyone thinks it's Pacheco. Boom. Blake Bell comes up under center. I don't know, man. It could be interesting.
Clyde
But yeah, your
Edwards
guy,
plus
No,
Cole Hardman
490.
plus
Blake Bell
750.
has one career postseason touchdown, and Eric Fisher is the highlight on that play because
Facts.
he takes the two Bud Lights and bangs them together. So don't give me nothing about Blake Bell.
I forgot about that.
The other touchdowns you should definitely sprinkle money on. Mecole Hardman plus 750, great value. He could easily
I
get
like
a
that
jet
one.
sweep, like we just said. Your favorite running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, plus 490. Shovel past Clyde. We haven't seen that
Yeah,
in
I like
months.
that one
So
too.
we could easily get those. Those are two great values. And then the obvious ones like Justin Watson, Rasheed Rice, and the other guys. So
That's what I was
yeah,
gonna look as the receiving props. What they say on. Oh man, these
Keegan,
receiving props are
I'm
awful.
not trying to blank on your Blake Bell one, man, but that just
the
That's
Bell
what you can
goes.
just
pissed
put
me off.
$5 on it.
That
$5.
pissed me off.
There's a few players on my shit list, and
He's
Blake
one of
Bell is one random one. He's on no one else in Chiefs Kingdom shit list, but he's on mine.
He's a guy that really doesn't need shouldn't be on the roster. But I mean, you know how Andy is with his guys that are on the edge of the roster. There, if they do something that he likes, and instead of having to teach somebody else how to do it, they're gonna
Can
get that spot every time.
can you bet on quarterback sneaks?
I wish.
Because Tua hasn't run a quarterback sneak either. I saw
would bet
a
neither one of
stat.
them.
I saw a stat where someone was like, "It is very rare for a quarterback to go through a whole season without a quarterback sneak," and Tua's done it this year. And I was
Man,
like,
that'd be a hard one to find on. You'd have to get down like
I
an
was
alternative
like,
bet.
I
After
was
his
like,
injury
okay.
history,
But
duh.
Tua's never done it. Mahomes hasn't done it since 2019. Like, how often do you go into a game, especially in the tush push era, feeling pretty confident neither quarterback is sneaking it?
That's funny.
They do have Mahomes rush attempts set at 4.5, and his longest rush of the game at 12.5. That's kind of interesting.
Those are good lines. That like
Tua to throw an
I
interception
like that.
minus 118. I love that prop.
Yeah.
Love
I
that.
like
Honestly,
the
as
over
much
on
as I don't want to say it, but Mahomes will throw a pick too. He's done it, 8
He's
of the
done
last
it.
9
Yeah,
games.
he'd be doing it too. Yeah, we got to be honest.
I like the Mahomes over rush attempts because 2 or 3 kneels takes care of that.
Yep, and then he's gonna scamper around 3 or 4 times. So
Here's the other good one. Harrison Bucker total kicking points 6.5.
Ooh, I'm hitting the under based on my
because
score.
he got to kick.
Because
So
you don't feel like they're going field goal that much.
because
Mhm.
he's gonna get a couple extra points.
Just because of the weather.
Yeah, 2
Just
field
because of the
goals.
weather.
2 field goals is tough in this weather condition. That's tough.
Yeah,
I like
that's the
one.
only way he gets there. It has to be 2 field goals.
He can get
Yeah.
1 field goal and maybe a couple extra points, but that would only be 3, 4, 5 points. So yeah,
But I guess
The
and
unders plus money, by the way. Plus
see what
money
the,
right
see
now.
I'll
what the
probably take
wind
the
is looking like game day. See what the
Yeah.
wind is looking like game
I
day.
like-
man,
but
do you want to
it's like
kick that
12
ball
to
at
like-
0 degrees?
it's gonna be
no,
a rock.
yeah, even that you don't want to do it. So yeah,
I don't even want to catch that.
yeah.
It's gonna be hard, bro. Handoffs.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Any other bets you guys got out here before we sign off?
That's pretty much all I like, fellas.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I appreciate you
I guess
guys.
yeah.
joining.
Here's the one thing I was just looking because we were talking about our score predictions. I said Chiefs 20, Dolphins 14
Mhm.
plus 12,000. So maybe look at some of those scoring
Get the
metrics
exact
and-
number, like
Yeah, the exact
each
the
one of
exact
us
one.
put them
Man,
in.
I
I'm gonna do
typically
20
shy.
That's so hard to do.
typically-
It's so
I
hard to
typically
do.
is.
shy from those because of that reason.
Very
but
hard.
hey,
But they're all so big that like if you took
All you need is one.
we'd
to
have
hit.
to do the math. Like let's say you did $25 and you put 5 on 5 different ones and hope that
make
one
your
of them
money.
hits. Does that at least make up your
Oh,
difference
yeah,
there?
it definitely does.
Yeah, split your bets.
So it'll be interesting to see. But
I'm sure some of these lines will probably change as we get closer to kickoff.
well, they only
But yeah,
got one day
Tua's has
left.
already gone down. He
Two
went from like
days.
243 passing yards, and he's already down to like 235 or
He'd
something.
be lucky to hit 200.
Yeah, take the under.
Yeah, and I don't care if we're coming over as cocky Chiefs fans. That's just kind of how the Dolphins have been playing. So
We've only had, I think, 2 quarterbacks on the year. Well, maybe 3. Jared Goff week 1. I think we've only had 3 quarterbacks on the year that hit their over.
on
And
passing
Aiden
yards.
O'Connell was one of them.
Was Jordan Love one? Because he was hitting
Possibly because didn't he have that big Christian Watson
Yeah,
pass down the field? Yeah. I mean, outside of that, pretty much every quarterback has gone under their total, and so has Mahomes. Mahomes has been under on most of his all year too.
yeah. Love hit was at 267. So that's real close, probably for what his line was in that game. But anyway, it'll be an exciting game. We all expect the Chiefs win, not necessarily because of how the Chiefs have been playing late, but because of the weather, the history, and how the Dolphins have been playing late. So Should have a recap episode. Hopefully, we have another preview episode for the divisional. But you just never know with these playoffs. Before we sign off, CJ, where can the good people find all these hot takes and bet props you always spitting off?
You guys can definitely find me on Twitter, like the ad says, at CGG81. I posted some clips from my favorite plays from the season. I'm going to make a thread, so follow it, like it, retweet it. I'm going to post all the plays that I wish Andy Reid would call. He may call one or two of them. If there's one of them he should call that'll get him in the end zone. I know
The quarterback sneak?
I mean, that too, but I was going to call. It's called a slide action. I just posted on my timeline, like literally right before we started recording. So great play. It works. It's boot action. You get the defense flowing one way. You sneak out. It's a great concept, especially for our offense. And we have Rasheed and Travis are such good after the catch. But yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter if you have any questions, bets. Me and Keegan are going to drop some content. Definitely have some good stuff coming out. I got some great bets for this weekend, not just Chiefs games, but everybody else's game too. So
good, because I have not won a Chiefs bet like in.
We're gonna get you some money this weekend, buddy. I got those ones I said earlier in the show. The under on the Dolphins team total, Pacheco's rush attempts, and then obviously the Chiefs to win the game. Like you could take those three and be good. So,
but that's what we said about the Chiefs Raiders game too, and then.
Well, yeah, until we decided to.
And the Chiefs Broncos game.
Yeah, well, the first Raiders game. Came back.
What about you, Keegan? Where can people find you?
You can find me at Keeganator_11. I usually am just more tweeting during the game about the game itself and observations and things like that. Because again, my sports betting streak right now has not been very effective. So get up on CJ's for that. But as far as everything we're doing, obviously at KCSA Pod, I'll be sharing stuff throughout the day, takes on their official bets, things like that.
Yeah, Keegan, your KS, I can't even speak, has been very negative towards the Chiefs the last few weeks. The tweets you've been spitting out, like, let's bring up that morale.
I'm more likely to react to the negative than the positive, so I'll take some blame on that.
I guess so. You know what?
I'll try and be more positive this weekend.
I can't say I disagree too much because I'm always spouting out some sort of nonsense. It's very rarely directed at the entire Chiefs. I normally single people out in my frustration, but that's just how it goes. And you can find that on 10penny88. But as always, we appreciate everyone listening. Please share with your friends. Please, again, listen to this on the KC Sports Authority YouTube page or wherever you listen to. Please check us out. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 300 subscribers, getting real exciting. We've actually grown a ton over the last couple months, so appreciate the continued support. But as always, we will talk to you next time. Go Chiefs. CJ, send us off.
Go Chiefs. Let's go.